What up, YouTube? What up, YouTube? It's your boy, the author. Right back at that ass again. Here's another one. I just want to make this quick video, man. This brother on YouTube, man, he made this video about can black kids compete? And pretty much, I think he was talking about the educational system and how pretty much black kids are being left behind as a whole in terms of academic achievement, especially young black boys and young black girls. In most cases, not even being able to get accepted into the technical schools, so they can keep up with the rest of the world. And he showed these Asian and Chinese students and these different techniques that they're learning, man, in terms of how to pretty much be more advanced. And when it comes to math, and these kids are no joke, man. They're human calculators, man. They can pretty much add up if you give them if you give them 10 sets of 3-digit numbers, like 693 plus 597 plus 453, and then every time the teacher will say a number, like she'll say 654, and they'll do their hand like this, and every time she'll say a number, someone will do their hands like this, and she could say like 6 or 10 sets of 6-digit numbers, and those kids will get the right answer. That's without using a calculator and without writing it down. I repeat, they don't write the numbers down. And now in some cases they do, where they have a test, but they don't use calculators. They don't do how like we did back in school, where you'll take 478 plus 574, and you'll pretty much add those numbers up and come up with the answer. No, they're doing like 578 plus 875 plus 453 plus 1044 plus 792, and the teacher will will call out all these numbers, and the kids will be able to just say the numbers. They'll say the answer to the equation. And in many cases, it's just mathematics, and they call the kids human calculators. They say it's this technique they use in school that was originated in China, and pretty much it's some technique for pretty much adding up numbers, where it's a process of learning actually as well, learning through visualization versus memorization. So I guess the guy's argument was pretty much we just go to school to pretty much memorize and then regurgitate the information back up, which is pretty much what the elite school in the West, or the American school systems, are primarily based on that, man. I mean, they give you so many notes. You take the notes home. You study the notes, meaning you memorize what they gave you. You come back to school the next day, take the test. Based on what you remembered, that's going to be your grade. And your grade decides whether you're dumb or smart, or whether you pass or fail. Well, your grade decides on if you pass or fail. And whether you pass or fail, you're going to be looked at as dumb or smart. But these kids are using a technique, a visualization technique, where they're able to do the compute and come up with a sum of large blocks of numbers, man, and they can get the answer without using a calculator or without even writing the numbers down. It's a memorization technique they use. And his point was, black parents should take their kids out of schools and teach the kids themselves, and that pretty much black kids can't compete against these other nations of kids. These Hindu kids from India and these Chinese kids. And here's the thing, man. Here's what I think needs to be said. So the black kids are behind. I taught in a Title I school 8th grade. And yeah, no doubt the kids are behind, but those type of kids, where they call those kids the human calculators, where they're doing computations that most adults can't even do, they're not only leaving the black kids behind, but they're pretty much leaving the white kids behind too. Because I mean, some white professor made this book called A Bell Curve, and I think in 1992, and it talks about how white kids in the U.S. have surpassed black kids in terms of learning and things of that nature. But they never talk about how the Asian and the Indian kids have pretty much outdone the white kids. White kids will get smoked by these 10 and 9 year old Hindu and Chinese kids. I mean, the white kids, the smartest white kids in the U.S. can't even keep up with a lot of these Asian and Hindu kids, or i.e. kids from India. These kids from the countries of India and China can smoke most of these white kids over here as well. So it's not just the black kids that are being left behind. But, at the same token, man, it's kind of like, I think one of the reasons why we're so far behind in terms of especially in terms of mathematics and technology, is because for a long time this nation was what you call a liberal arts nation, where we did a roundabout education. We learned different subjects, and I think one of the presidents, Woodrow Wilson, or one of those presidents, said he favored that because he wanted people to have all around learning. And a liberal arts education is based on for people who are going to be leaders. So pretty much, it's to help make you a better spokesperson, and pretty much your spokesperson is going to be your leader, and you're going to have people who know the technology can work for you. So pretty much, it's setting everyone up to be like a CEO or some type of spokesman for a company or for a business, or for a marketing firm or something like that. But the only problem is, depending on what race you are, I mean, my people don't have a high number of businesses in the U.S., so I have to go to another race to get hired, and that race is going to hire its people first over me, and that's what a lot of our black men have to go through. But it wasn't until the 80s, where when Reagan got in office, who was one of the presidents, the U.S. tried to compete in technology once they already saw China and Japan and all these other countries already pulling forward, already surpassing us in the field of technology. And that's because we were a liberal arts country. I think he only used that spin so he could do the trickle down theory and lay off a lot of blacks, because you didn't need to know mathematics and technology in my grandfather's day to get a job. Now granted, a lot of things did get technical, but there are still construction jobs. The jobs in which he was laying people off and that they said will be obsolete. And they said computers would be taking everything over by the 2000s. That hasn't happened yet. I mean, yeah, we've gotten more advanced, but there's still construction workers. There's still coal mine workers. So only difference is, where it used to be more blacks working on construction, now you have more whites working on construction. So like the old heads were telling me, all Reagan pretty much did was take the shovel out of the black man's hands and put it and place it in the white man's hand. Because before, I mean, some of those brothers were telling me too, man. There's one older brother told me he was in Baltimore. He said you can make $30,000 or $40,000 a year if you knew how to blacktop a driveway, or put that blacktop on like them construction workers be redoing the streets. You can make about $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 starting out doing that, and you wouldn't even have to graduate high school. I mean, that's how good things were back then. You didn't need no certification. You just told a guy you could do it. He'll try you out. Once he saw how well you did, he decided to keep you or push you to the side. And if he did keep you, you stayed for years. Because, I mean, staying on a job 20, 30 years wasn't really anything back in the day. But now, if you stay on a job more than a year, it's like, man, how did you do that? So, but not to get off topic, but yeah. So basically, man, my point is that the U.S. isn't really a technology-based type of a place, man. It's not really it's not pro education. They're talking about, well, our kids would be able to do that if they didn't want to be rappers or writers or singers. Well, this is a Hollywood culture. The U.S., the West, is a Hollywood culture. Over here, what's promoted is entertainment, athletes, entertainment, rock stars and singers and dancers and comedians. Those people are valued, and that's pushed in American culture. That's the most important thing in American culture. That gets the most, you know, that type of entertainment gets the most TV time, radio time, and people who make it to the top of that ladder, they make the most money. They can make millions by making people laugh and things of that nature. Now, I don't think countries like China or India are saturated with movie stars and rap stars and things of that nature. I think they're more of an education based. I think more of the government has control over those countries, and that's why those kids don't have as many distractions. Whereas where they were showing the classroom in China where the professor will speak, and he'll all the kids turn the paper over at the same time and they'll start writing. That culture isn't over here. The teacher in China says that he hits the kids sometimes. So teachers in China can hit you. You know what I'm saying? You try touching an American kid, and it's the opposite. Kids in America will whip a teacher's ass. They showed this teacher in here in Charlotte, man. 5 girls jumped this teacher, meaning they were attacking her all at the same time, punching her and beating her, and she tried to swing back in self-defense, because if you don't all you can do is either block in that situation or swing back, and sometimes offense is your best defense. But she was trying to protect herself, and she was fired. I repeat, she tried to protect herself after being attacked by these female goons, and she was fired, a black lady. So, a black man, I mean, shit, he can't, for him to even survive. But in some ways, that's good too, man. Because when I was a teacher, black females did not support the black males who were getting disrespected by these little hard-head teenage girls who were always talking shit. So that's good for them, man. But my point is, it's a different type of culture entirely. These kids sit down because they know, hey, the teacher can whoop their ass. You imagine what the parents will do. So education is taken a lot more seriously because that's the culture over there. The culture in the West is a Hollywood movie type culture. So it's not education based. I mean, they give education lip service in the West, just like they give the military lip service. But nobody really cares, because when vets come back, they don't get the best treatment. They don't get the best medicine, but they get lip service. They'll make a movie about the vets, but vets aren't making millions of dollars a year. Teachers in North Carolina make the lowest in the state. But your average rap star and movie star, they're making, the ones who make it at the top of that ladder. Now, I find it funny that you have these Hollywood stars who make it at the top of their profession, the actors, the actresses, the rappers, the ones who make it to the top, they get millions. But you can't it's almost impossible to make $30 or $40 or $50,000 a year as a rapper by just going to work every day and just signing up just so you can do a show every day. No one's gonna pay you for that. Just going on stage and rapping. But if you make it to the top of that, then you might, be you can if you make it to the top, you can be a millionaire. So like the government doesn't even support the arts, but they'll give $1 million to a rapper, quote unquote, or to an actor. So you can't really tell if those guys are really entertainers or if they're CIA or FBI agents. But that's another video. But anyway, because how does a government that doesn't support the arts allow people to make millions if they make it to the top of the arts field, whatever arts field they major in terms of the being an actor or musician, and make it to the very top of that field, you'll give them millions. But if they're anywhere in the middle or the low end, they can't make a dime. Yeah, a lot of musicians in homeless shelters because that's their only primary source of income, and they didn't get signed by Sony Records or some other major label. But yeah, so my point being, man, excuse me, is that our kids can't compete, but American kids in general can't compete because that culture is not over here. You don't have that. And before you get to be, that's why China has so many kids that they call the human calculator. Before you can become the human calculator, those kids that I noticed, they have motivation. See, that's the seed that's gonna make the plant grow. You have to have that seed there first. And if you don't have this seed there, then you can't do anything else. You got to have that passion to want to be the human calculator, where you can add up 946 plus 855 plus 744 plus 452 plus 898 plus 999 plus, then add up all those numbers without using a pencil or a calculator. That takes practice, and you have to have the motivation. Because I sat down with parents, man, and this one lady, this kid we were having a problem with. Like I had a problem with the kid, but it wasn't until the kid cursed out the white principal is when, that's when her mother had to come in. And the mother came in and she was crying, and then she said she bought the kid. She spent over $2,000 on this kid for gifts and presents. Bought her, shoes, name brand shoes, PlayStation, gaming systems, all this bullshit. And this kid, this female, she comes to class, no pencil, no paper. You put the pencil and paper on her desk, sometimes they'll just knock it off. I mean, and these are 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old kids who are in the 8th grade. I mean, so, those kids going up against the human calculator, I mean, that can't happen because you don't even have the motivation. The kids over here don't even care. So you can't begin to compete. You're not even in the game at all if you don't care. So it's just like that's the atmosphere over here. Now, granted, that was a Title I school, and those kids were the lowest of the low. But in general, the pop star culture is just all over the place in the U.S. You got that type of situation going on, man. You're not gonna be able to compete. Like I said, I don't believe the actors in Asia and in China or the actors in India hold the same weight as, say, a Tom Cruise in the U.S. or the Tyler Perrys in the U.S. or the Jay-Z's in the U.S. I don't think that's the case over there. I mean, it's probably really about education, and it's about what the government tells you and things like that. Government might be the only star, our quote unquote star. But I just want to give my take on that, man, because the U.S. is not a education center. It's a center for pop stars, and then they push the movie star, and that's why you have so many entitled black women who will watch Hip Hop Wives and think that they can just act like those females, because they're a lot of the black females are very very what's the word I'm looking for? They're influenced very heavily by those housewives of Atlanta, and they try to act like them and get the same weaves that they wear, and only to find out, man, that that's not you. You're making yourself look like a fool to someone who is in their right mind. And imagine a female like that raising a kid by herself. I mean, what's the kid gonna be like? Is the kid gonna be totally in education, or is the kid gonna be totally in the bullshit like wearing the best shoes or wearing, and not even the best shoes, wearing the most expensive shoes? I mean, if she's the mother and she gets the most expensive weave, then he's going to want the most expensive sneakers, the Jordans. I mean, he's going to want the chain, and they could go to school for a fashion show. These kids in China don't care what they wear. So not only can the kids not compete against the kids in China or India, but they can't even compete against the kids here in America, the white kids here in America, because even the average white kid here in America isn't. Even the middle class white kids, at least they do care about education more than that. I mean, they're not the human calculator yet like the kids in India, but they do care more about their education than some of the black kids in the inner city. I mean, they are going to school to learn at least a little bit. But I was gonna make another point too. But yeah, and here's the thing too. Even if black parents, and mostly these days it's black parents, i.e. the black woman, even if she did take her kids out of the public schools, nothing would change. Why not? Because first and foremost, a lot of these parents, a lot of these black families are led by single black women anyway, about 70 something percent of them. And you're not going to be able to create, and most of these black females didn't even make it through high school their goddamn selves. So they're not going to know how to make a curriculum. They're not going to do the research to try to find out how to build a curriculum for which the kids can follow. If you don't have at least a BA or up, you're not going to be, not to say you have to have one, but if you haven't made it a certain way through, if you haven't made it through school, at least to a certain degree, then you're not going to even know where to start, man. But like I said, I may not know where to start in terms of how to, what to start my kid off with, in terms of what to teach them in terms of, age range, but I can do the research because I've been through enough school where I can go through the research. I can do the research and find out what curriculum would fit them best at what age, and at least come up with a halfway decent lesson plan because I have created lesson plans before. So I mean, a few black females and males who have been teachers, they'd be the only one who will be able to do that. And that's a small fraction of the black race. Only 19% of only 19% of blacks actually have a BA or up. So if you don't have at least a BA or up, for the most part, now there are some exceptions to every rule, but for the most part, man, if you don't have at least a BA or up, you're not gonna even know what you're doing, bro. You're not gonna know how to build a curriculum and create a lesson plan for kids to follow. And you're not even gonna be able to create something that takes a lot of hard work. You have to do grading and assign them homework, and then you have to grade that homework. And the stuff that you don't know, you're gonna have to brush up on yourself. And it's just like, come on, man. I mean, and then with these black females taking their kids out of school, it'll be the same mentality. She's not going to create a lesson plan, so they just going to be home not doing anything. They'll just be wasting their time because some of these parents need the kids to go to school just so they can have a babysitter so they can work. Because while the kid goes to school, they can work, and then when they come back, kids are already home. But yeah, at this point, the way the black psyche and mindset is right now, even if we were to take our kids out of school, it wouldn't do any good, man. Because you need a different type of mindset. The parents have to be ferocious when it comes to learning, and then the kids take it seriously. But I mean, we don't have the mindset to do that yet and be successful in that yet. We still got to get that self-esteem and up. But yeah, this is your boy, the author, man. Y'all have a happy holiday. Take care of yourselves. Be strong. And make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment underneath, man. What do you think? Do you think that the black community is ready to start taking their kids out of school and trying to homeschool their kids? Do you think this is a good idea? And let me know. Be sure to like and subscribe and share. And if you took offense, I'm glad. And this is your boy. Y'all be safe.